Did our Twitter followers get it right, Danny?
I believe they did. I think you got some very smart Twitter followers. Absolutely. And I knew that comment wasn't going to slip by. I knew that wasn't going to slip by the wayside. But when I look at what Jameis Winston did this year compared to what Johnny Manziel did last year, the thing that has really been astonishing about what Winston did is you kept waiting for him to play like a freshman, and he really never did. And I think that's one of the major things that separates his season from Johnny Manziel's season. Whether it was his first start on the road at Pittsburgh, he breaks the completion percentage in Florida State history, my record, by the way, which I was a little disappointed about. Then you look at him, his first big road game against Clemson. How is he going to perform there? 440-plus yards passing, absolutely dominates that game. Then you look at his first road rivalry game at Florida, the second-rated defense in the SEC at that time, puts up incredible numbers there. You can't even find a bad game for Jameis Winston. You look at it, maybe a half against Miami where he struggled, but he shook it off absolutely perfectly. I just look at him in there. You don't see a weakness in his game. You don't see a letdown. And if you look last year at Manziel's numbers, a lot of teams started making adjustments against better competition. He didn't play as well when you consider what he did against Florida, against LSU.
That was his first start.
Well,
Florida was his first game.
That's why I brought up Jameis Winston's first game, too.
In Florida?
Pitt finished in the top 25 in defense. They got a solid defense. I think it's an easy case. And I haven't even gone for the most important stat.
Okay, well, you better keep it in your back pocket because you're going to need it.
Okay.
Stephen A. Smith, can I go second here to set this man straight?
He's the tiebreaker.
This is between you two.
He's the tiebreaker.
Jameis Winston had a sensational redshirt freshman first-year starting year. Sensational. But this question is an insult to Johnny Manziel. That's how I feel about it. Last year, playing in the Southeastern Conference, not against the 66th easiest schedule in the country as Florida State did this year. In the Southeastern Conference, Johnny Manziel broke Cam Newton's single-season SEC total yardage record in 2 fewer games than Cam set the record in. That's really all I need to tell you. Last year, Johnny Manziel in the Southeastern Conference averaged as you pointed out in your open, 394 total yards per game to Jameis's this year, 309. I don't know. Last year, Johnny Manziel, this is a freshman, redshirt freshman, threw for 26 touchdowns and ran for a staggering 21 touchdowns on top of 26 that you threw. Johnny only threw 9 interceptions last year. Now, Jameis throws a lot more than Johnny did, but he has 10 interceptions to 38 touchdown passes. He doesn't have the legs
Freshman record ever in the history of college football.
I get it. 4 rush touchdowns this year for Jameis because he does run with the ball pretty effectively when need be. I agree. And my trump card here is that at Tuscaloosa, Alabama last year as a redshirt freshman against Nick Saban's stronghold of a home field defense, the best defense in college football and the best team in college football, Johnny Manziel went for 345 total yards. He went 24 of 31 for 253 passing yards. He ran for 92 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns. And the upset of the year in college football was Texas A&M 29, Nick Saban 24, thanks to Johnny Football, whose QBR in that game was 95 on a scale of 100. I'm sorry. As great as Jameis was this year, it wasn't that great. Advantage Johnny Football.
Some of those numbers that you gave, the total yardage stats and some of those things, I don't think you can hold those types of stats over Jameis Winston because in his non-conference games against Bethune-Cookman, he only had 150 yards passing because they took him out at halftime. They were blowing them out. Played Idaho, Nevada. He didn't put up cheap numbers in those games.
You're unmaking your case. Bethune-Cookman, Idaho, Nevada?
But
really?
Look at Johnny Manziel in his out-of-conference games. He had 1,500 extra yards passing in his non-conference games. Now you look at it, and I'm going to go with it. Stephen A., how do you judge any athlete at what they do? What's the most important thing when you judge an NBA player, if you judge LeBron?
Difference makers. Do they win?
Do they win? How many losses does Jameis Winston have?
Well, I understand that. But I got to be honest with you, Danny. I'm going to have to roll with Skip on this one.
Thank you, Stephen.
I
needed this today.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why. I looked at Johnny Football. Didn't throw for 300 yards against Florida last year. Didn't do so against LSU. Didn't do so against Alabama as well. They lost to Florida and LSU. Florida was his very first game as a college player. But again, when Skip points to the SEC, that resonates with me. When I look at Jameis Winston, I not just look at the Bethune-Cookmans and the Nevadas, all right?
He didn't make his
Syracuse, Idaho, and all of them. I mean, I was mad I had to turn the TV to the Duke game last week. You know, I was so busy watching Michigan State versus Ohio State, and I was like, well, let me see what's going on here. Look at this. This is just a waste of my time. But I will tell you, not just their weakness of schedule, it's the dominance of Florida State collectively. When I look at Texas A&M, and they went 11-2 last year, I said that's because of Johnny Football. When I see Florida State doing what it's doing, it's not just because of Jameis Winston. He's big time. And what he did against Clemson was absolutely sensational. That was a show-stopping performance, no doubt about it. Was it 444 yards passing? He was sensational. But their defense is sensational. Benjamin is showing those boys as wideouts they can play. You've got a running game. You've got a passing game. You've got athletes everywhere. They are just head and shoulders above the people that they've played against collectively. What I see when I watch Johnny Football in Texas A&M, I see a school in Texas A&M that are lucky to have Johnny Football. Otherwise, they would be mediocre.